Tuesday, so you know what time it is. It's book tag. This is the end of the year book tag that seems to be going around, and there's seems to be a few different versions. I don't know where it originally started. It seems to be all over though, so I'm just going to use it. Going to go with it. It's fairly short. I thought, with end of the year book tag, it would be like your summary of the year, but it's more of a to go into the end of the year. So it's only a couple weeks, 2 weeks left. But I figured I would do it anyway, even though there's only a couple weeks left. So are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? That's question number one. So I'm recording this a little bit earlier, so I'm not sure how much further I'll be in my reading. But as of right now, I have about 20 books on my December to read list, including the Reindeer Readathon. And so we'll see, I'm not 100% sure how many of those I've gotten to, how many I still need to finish. But clearly I had my goal of 20 plus books for the remainder of the year. And the last few months I've been reading 6 to 8 books a month. Previous to that, for 3 to 6 months before that, I was reading about 20 books a month. So hopefully, this month has been good. Yeah, I imagine I probably have stuff to finish still. In terms of, is there anything I started and didn't finish? Nothing intentionally that I was I started this and I'm going to get back to it. There are just some books I was in different stages of, but I'll get back to them when I can. But I do want to make sure I get to things that I'm reading for readathons or challenges quickly. So, number 2, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? So we're basically in winter now, but I do not have an autumnal book. I might have, if you had asked me in September. So the thing is, I live in New England, and our autumn is basically Labor Day until Halloween, and then it's winter. It can be called whatever it wants. It can be called autumn, but it's winter here in all of November and December. So in terms of autumnal to me, even though everyone was doing this in November and December, that's already winter. So I will say for a good winter read, I don't have anything in particular that I'm planning, because it's winter, but I always recommend for winter reads Ethan Frome, and then I have some stuff coming up that is kind of winter-y. Usually I just feel like darker, more dreary books, are good for winter. I have a book called Cold Victory, which is set in wintry environments, and I'm sure there's some other stuff that will turn out to be wintry, but as of right now, no, there's nothing official. Number 3, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Well, I am still waiting on a couple things. Alice Feeney's Good Bad Girl and Richard Osman's 4 Thursday Murder Club books. Those were 2 of the books I actually asked for Christmas, so I'm still waiting on those because I didn't buy them because they may be in my Christmas pile. Also, earlier in the year, there were a couple that I had been waiting for. I think Thornledge by T. Kingfisher's on there. So I am anticipating, but again, I don't know if I'm getting them, probably, but if I don't, then I'll figure out what to do about that. I may buy them. I may just wait till next year. It kind of depends. What are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? And so I'm not, I'm not really sure where I'm at in my reading by the time this goes live. But I want to finish the stuff for the readathon. My biggest concern and my biggest worry is The Woman in White, just because it's so long. But we'll see. So that's one I really want to finish. I would like to read, and it wasn't on my readathon, I would like to read My Darkest Prayer. The Bookish Drummer Discord is reading that for the month, so I'd kind of like to do that. And, otherwise, I'm sure there's some books I should get to, but nothing, official. I'd like to actually get a head start on some of my January arcs. So that's kind of where I want to be by the time January rolls around. The next question is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? You never know, honestly. Things can, I'm totally open to that being possible. You never really know what's going to happen with any book. I've had a lot of really good reads this year that I've loved, and then I would say I've had most of the books I've read this year have been at least good, which is nice. But I have had a little bit of a up and down for a period, and I think the thing that's challenging with books is that a lot of it does depend on your mood. So if I'm in a bad mental state, or I'm just super stressed, or for whatever reason, sometimes I'll read something and I'm just not in the mindset to read it. And sometimes I can tell, okay, this is something I would like. I just need to put it away for now. And I'll do that. I'll walk away and I'll go back to it eventually. This is how I end up with books that I DNF'd, even though I didn't intend to DNF. It's just because I put them aside and then 50,000 other things end up ahead of them, and eventually I want to get back to them. But I mean, I do, if I really do think I'll like it, I will try to put it on pause and be like, I'm not in the headspace right now to read this. But I do think even when I read something and I don't enjoy it, that may be, I always say that could be my mood. I mean, there may be books that I've just been meh about that if on a different day, in a different week, might have been a 4-star read for me. I mean, they're probably not going to be 5-star reads, but they might be better than, if I'm thinking, and I don't really rate anything other than 5 stars. My rating system is basically 5 stars, and then I have really liked it, really enjoyed, even if not 5 stars, and that's basically 3.5 to 5, maybe more 4, 4s. But 3.5 up to 5. So they're not 5-star books, but I really enjoyed them. So they're definitely probably in the 4 range, but maybe a 3.5. And then I have kind of ambivalent, which is 2.5 to 3.5. And then I have DNF or not for me, and that would be anything that I would normally rate a 2 or lower. But I always say some of those not for me could be in a different environment. But again, the problem is there's so many books, and there's so many books on my TBR, and there's so many books out there that I want to read that I just, unlike a movie where it's only a couple hours and maybe, I know, I hated Napoleon Dynamite when I saw it in the theater. I didn't get it. I was like, why is everyone laughing? This isn't funny. And then the second time I saw it, I thought it was hilarious, and I love it now. But in a movie, you're talking maybe 2 hours, 3 hours. So you can go revisit it in a different place, when you're just feeling different. And part of the reason I don't think I liked Napoleon Dynamite is it wasn't what I was expecting it to be. And sometimes that's happened with me with movies where I'll go in thinking it's going to be one kind of movie and it's not. And then if I rewatch it under a different, knowing that it's not what I think it's going to be, what it actually is, I can enjoy it. But, books are hard because you don't have, they take more than 2 hours. So you can't, I generally don't end up rereading things, even if I want to. Every so often I will, especially classics. I've reread things that I read when I was young, but I think if I reread something now that I read this past year, chances are I'm just going to be annoyed that I'm rereading it. So, I think I need some time away. But again, this is a very subjective thing. So, in terms of whether something could surprise me, probably. And it could become my favorite read of the year. But, I've been really happy with, the books I've read, so who knows. And then the last question is, have you already started making reading plans for 2024? And I have, and I will be posting those shortly. So yeah. What about you? What are you doing? What are your plans for 2024? Anything exciting? I'm really looking forward to like end of the year wrap up kind of videos because I can't wait to see like what were people's favorite reads this year. So if you want to give me a sneak peek, let me know what were your favorite reads of the year. I'm really excited about that because I like to see kind of what people when they sit down and kind of look at everything they read for the year and rethink all those things you read back in January that you loved. Do you still love them? Or did you remember what they're about, or are they kind of like falling lower, or do they get even higher as you like the year has gone on and they're still up there? So anyway, yeah. See you soon. Bye.